Good morning to everyone, and I thank you for joining us today for this live address. I'd like to give a special welcome to our students, our faculty, and our staff. Students, we are excited to welcome you to campus very soon. To our staff and our faculty, many of you are already phasing back into the office, and we're happy to welcome you back as well. This morning, I'd like to share several updates on matters including health and safety, a return to campus, academics update, and an update especially for students. I will attempt to answer any questions that you may have. If I do not know the answer, I'll be happy to get the answer and respond to you. But if you do have additional questions, or questions during the live broadcast. This will be a brief one this morning. Feel free to send an email to luelt@langston.edu, luelt@langston.edu. I'd like to start by giving a health and safety update. As many of you are aware, on June 1st, the university released our first phase plan to return to campus. It is a strategy entitled, The Plan for a Healthy and Safe Return to Langston University, which is based upon 5 guiding principles. And most of our faculty and staff have heard me mention these, but just as a reminder, the 5 are promoting healthy behaviors, maintaining health and safety protocols, ensuring healthy environments, sustaining healthy operations, and last but certainly not least, creating a resilient community. We recently revised the plan along with ELT and myself. It's available now on our COVID-19 resource page. If you have not visited the COVID-19 resource page, I encourage you to do so. There's a plethora of information available to you, not only explaining our strategy, but providing some background information and information that should be important to all of our community members. But in the plan, you will find updated protocols and procedures based upon CDC guidance. Important updates include accommodations for members of our community who are at higher risk, updated procedure for notification of possible exposure, and clear course delivery guidance. I'll share more details on these points in just a few moments, but know that the plan is intended to change as circumstances warrant and as guidance from the CDC evolves. The ELT has secured PPE, or personal protective equipment, for the university. Distribution for faculty and staff has already begun and will continue. Distribution to students will begin as they arrive on campus. The Emergency Leadership Team, or ELT, is continually monitoring the status of COVID-19. At the university, we continue to work with the local and state public health entities to assess current risk and devise the best scenarios for moving forward safely. Please know that we have benchmarked our plan against other HBCU plans, as well as plans from other entities within the state and within our higher educational system. No two plans can be identical, as all institutions have unique needs and opportunities. So as you see plans for other institutions, while there can be an easy tendency to compare, I would caution all of us on doing that, because all institutions are slightly different and simply operate a little bit differently. So there'll be some things that are alike, while other things may be unique to Langston University. But know that we are diligently working to remain mindful of what is in the best interest of our university community. The plan will be continually updated as a reminder, and your safety, remains at the forefront of our primary concern. Now I'd like to share more on our return to campus expectations, and specifically the updates to our plan, beginning with telework and accommodations. And this is an area I know that many of you have questions regarding, and so I wanted to highlight some of the changes that we've made and the pieces that we've put into place. First of all, the ELT held numerous meetings with supervisors to collaborate on plans for bringing faculty and staff back to campus. Many departments are implementing a staggered or rotating strategy for on-campus and telework where possible. We've also empowered the supervisors to create a return to work strategy that would best suit their departments. That's really important to me because you're in your office every day and your supervisors are in on a normal day without COVID. And it's important that you have the opportunity as supervisors or as office teams to determine what is best for your given office within reason. Also, we've extended or made permanent telework. It will not be an option for most employees. So the notion is that all employees are expected to return, but how they return is the piece that we're working on with the supervisors. We recognize that accommodations may be needed for members of our community who are at higher risk, and we've created a procedure to address those needs. Appendix C within our updated plan includes a full procedure of how to discuss accommodations with your supervisor or request special accommodations from student and employee services. Special accommodation requests must, very important point, special accommodation requests must be accompanied by a note from a physician and will be coordinated by Mrs. Buckley in student and employee services. The revised plan includes clarified protocols for reporting if you believe you may have been exposed to COVID-19. The university is taking an aggressive approach to mitigating risk by requiring self-isolation in the event of possible exposure. At this time, we've had a small number, I'm happy to report, we've had a small number of employees report that they have interacted with someone who may have been exposed to COVID-19 or ones who have recently tested positive for the virus. We're updating the existing guidance to provide further clarity on reporting processes for these situations. Please note, if you have interacted with someone who tests positive for the virus, it does not necessarily mean that you will contract the virus. I understand the concern, but it does not mean that you automatically will contract the virus. These types of incidents are likely to increase considering that we're returning to campus and positive cases are to be expected. Certainly we believe it will happen. It is important that we respond to these events in a supportive way, reflecting the family atmosphere that we have and the resilience of our community. Regarding academics and course delivery, Dr. Ruth Jackson will be releasing additional guidance to all faculty later today via email. This guidance will include clear expectations and procedures for the fall 2020 course delivery. Our academic leadership, which is Dr. Jackson along with our deans, has prepared alternative course delivery options for students this fall, and I'm really appreciative of their work. Speaking of course delivery methods, what are they? The first is hybrid delivery. This is a blend of in-class and online coursework. Students enrolled in hybrid courses will be on our campuses and in the classroom part-time, generally on a rotating basis. For our students, these courses will not have distance learning fees. Students, I know that, and I've heard from several of you, and I know that, well, many of you actually know that you're very concerned about the distance learning fees. And so I applaud our academic leaders for coming up with new models that would not charge the academic learning fees. Flexible, the next is called flex delivery or flexible delivery. This is where coursework is delivered through video conferencing technology like Zoom that we're on today, or even Adobe Connect to students regardless of their location. These courses may be synchronous at a scheduled time or asynchronous, recorded, which means recorded and available at any time depending on the course. Again, even with these courses will not have a distance learning fee associated with them. Online or web delivery is another delivery type. And these are reserved for our fully online programs where the courses are delivered 100% online, 100% of the time. And one example of such a program that we have is the BBA program in the School of Business. And these courses, now it's important to note the difference with the online and the fully online programs. These courses will have the distance learning fees as they always have. So there's nothing new there. For our faculty and our students who will be joining us on our campuses and in the classroom, you will see some tremendous differences in the environment upon your return. We've implemented social distancing strategies, such as, in some cases, you'll be shocked, some furniture has been removed. We've placed stanchions or barriers in certain locations, and additional signage to help keep you safe is also now up on our campuses. We've invested a significant amount of money, trust me, it's significant, in state-of-the-art technology in the past 30 days to deliver instruction to our students no matter their location. We've implemented enhanced cleaning, health, and safety protocols throughout all of our campuses. Our facilities teams, and I would like to thank them, they have implemented deep cleaning strategies throughout our campuses using important EPA-certified disinfectants that neutralize the virus. We are requiring masks where social distancing is not feasible, and we recommend that masks are worn as much as possible. On that note, I would like to take a moment, as some have returned to campus, and I want to talk about what I'm seeing. For me, I would encourage us when we see individuals who don't have masks on to simply remind them. I know for me, sometimes even when I've gone out in public, it's very easy to forget to put the mask on. And we have to be our brothers and sisters keepers and encourage each other to say, hey, Dr. Smith, I noticed you don't have your mask on. Do you need an extra mask? Just as a reminder. So when all of us return to campus, I would like all of us to remind each other where needed to not only to put mask on, but when you return, you will see lots of hand sanitizing stations. And I'd like to encourage all of our members to utilize these resources. Now, in reference to the hand sanitizer stations, really important. I've had to speak with my own children about this, but putting hand sanitizer does not replace hand washing. Hand washing is very, very important. And I'd also like us to work as a community to remind each other not only to use hand sanitizer, but to wash as often as possible, especially hand washing. Finally, an update for our students. As we approach this fall semester, first of all, I'd like to welcome all of our incoming freshmen. Some of them are joining us. Our new students are joining us today. We are preparing for you. We're putting the finishing touches and the gloss onto your move to campus, and we are excited. This is amongst our happiest time of the year next to commencement, and we are excited to meet you and to welcome you officially to the Langston University family. It's hard to believe that you will literally start moving in on Thursday of this week. Some of you are moving Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or possibly even on Monday. But we do look forward to seeing you, to meeting you, and to welcoming you to the family. Students, please note, you should limit your interactions with others during the week that we're in as you prepare to move to campus. If any of you feel ill or believe you are symptomatic or have been exposed, do not report to Langston University campus. Housing will work with you to reschedule your appointment. Our goal is for your safety and for the safety of others on our campuses. You should have already received information by now concerning the move-in process, and we will continue to provide guidance this week. Remember, students, really, really important. You are limited to 2 guests plus yourself as you enter campus. If you come with more than 2, unfortunately, we will have to turn them around, or even worse, they'll have to stand out in the sun and not participate in your move-in. So social distancing is really important, but just as a friendly reminder, you are only limited to 2 guests plus yourself as you move onto the campus. I know, and I fully understand that limiting guests could seem like an inconvenience. However, it is a necessary step to limit the number of individuals on our campus at one time. All individuals entering campus for move-in, here's what you can expect. Here's what a temperature screening will be required, and for some, a detailed health questionnaire will have to be completed. So as you come onto the campus, there will be a short delay because we'll take temperature screenings for everyone in the vehicle with you. You will, as you enter the campus, you will also see 4, I think there are 4, remember seeing them this morning, 4 tents for the purposes of the screening. As you come onto the campus on Old 33, Highway 33, they'll be to your right. With your cooperation, the process should move quickly and smoothly. Please follow instructions. It's for your protection and for the protection of all members of our community. Returning students who are on with us today, I hope that all is well for you and that you're safe and in good health. Your move-in is also on the horizon. You should have seen some of our information that's been delivered to campus. You too can expect to receive additional guidance from housing as the date of your move-in approaches. You have a few weeks before your move-in, but please review your email. We will send those, housing will send those to your Langston University email account. And you, if you've not already gotten it, you will receive instructions to schedule a move-in appointment. Most of our upperclassmen don't tend to come with a lot of people helping them to move in, but you are limited as well to only 2 guests coming to move in with you if you would like to bring anyone to help you move in. So really, really important. Flex, so let's go to, I see that, well, let me keep going and I'll come back to the questions here shortly. I see that there's a question here in the chat room about freshmen required to live on campus, and I'll come back to that one as well as the others here in a little bit. Okay. So I think what I'd like to do is go ahead and close out. I recognize that this is a time of uncertainty for our faculty, our staff, and our students. I recognize it's a time of uncertainty for your families and your loved ones. Know that we are working to make the transition as smooth as possible, but this will require everyone's cooperation. We all will be inconvenienced in ways that we never dreamt or wanted to experience, but it is necessary for all of our safety. Student leaders have already returned to campus. I was happy to see some of them last evening. They've returned to campus. They're helping us to prepare for our new students who arrived this week. And I certainly want to thank our student leaders for they have a great responsibility in modeling not only the appropriate behavior, but helping us to social distance. For our student leaders who are on with us this morning, I hope to see you wearing those masks more. I saw a few of you yesterday that didn't have a mask on. So I'm gonna give you a little friendly nudge and ask you to keep those masks on. But thank you for coming back early to ensure that we have a great transition for our new students. For everyone, please continue to monitor your Langston University email and our COVID-19 resource page for more information. We are planning a series of small town hall style meetings for the ELT to answer additional questions because we know that many of you will have questions as we embark upon the return to campus. Please monitor your Langston University email for further announcements on the town hall meetings. One more time, please know that we are committed to promoting the safety, health, and well-being of members of our community. So far, our community has shown incredible resilience. And without your commitment, the plan that we put in place would not be successful. So thank you so much for your commitment to Dear Langston. And once again, if you have additional questions, please direct them to luelt@langston.edu. Okay, I'm gonna look down here and see what questions are in the chat room to see if there are any that I can answer. Let's see. All right, this one, a freshman required to live on campus, and will they have a choice given that we are in a pandemic? Certainly, we do want the freshmen to be on campus, but we also recognize that there is some anxiety out there, which is why Academic Affairs has designed different course delivery modules. Flex courses are a good option for those students. While they're on campus, that they do have the opportunity to utilize the flex courses because that creates the social distances academically. Let's see, so I think I see another one. What about outside guests throughout the year? We're actually still, I don't know if that's we're referring to students or outside guests. The goal for us is to limit the number of persons on our campuses literally throughout the semester. So you'll see some additional guidance. Really great question. You'll see some additional guidance there. But the goal is to limit the number of visitors, be it a student's guest or faculty or staff members' guests who may be visiting. Let's see another question. How do we know if our courses are flex, hybrid, or online? The schedule, as you see it, will have a code for each course that'll say flex, hybrid, or web. Web meaning online. So that's that piece. Will students be returning in the spring semester? As of now, that's the plan. But again, because of COVID, anything could change at any moment, but the plan is for students to return in the spring semester. And just a reminder, provided that we make it through this entire fall semester, students will go up until Thanksgiving. And then when they go home for the Thanksgiving break, students will not return. They will take their exams online or work with the professor of a given method as to how they will take the final exam. But students, once you leave for Thanksgiving, you will not return until January. Why aren't students required to take the COVID test? Okay, really, really great question. And I see, some schools have decided to give a test. The first and direct answer is that CDC guidelines do not recommend mass testing unless individuals have symptoms or have been exposed to someone who either has COVID-19 or who they believe has been exposed. Everything that we've designed is based on CDC guidelines. And I'll just be frank with you, because we really struggled as a team in determining whether or not to make it required for students to take the COVID test. We landed where we landed, obviously, because of CDC guidelines. But being frank with everyone who's on this morning, the problem that I have with the testing is unless you're testing individuals daily, the reality is that someone could get a test today and be infected with COVID-19 tomorrow. And what we did not want to do is give a false sense of security that, hey, because everyone's been tested, everybody's good to go and no one has COVID-19. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. So we decided, and especially knowing that a lot of our students are first-generation college students, may not have access to tests where they live, but certainly probably could not get tested multiple times prior to arriving. We decided to strictly follow the CDC guidelines. and to take temperature screens and that kind of piece. And CDC said they do not recommend the mass testing. So great question, very understandable why the question is being asked, but that's where we are. Will we be allowed to go home, Hannah? Will we be allowed to go home on weekends if we live close? The answer is yes. It's not going to be a situation where we get you to campus and we just lock you in. Now, what are we asking you to do? We're asking you to limit your contact with individuals if you do, just as you're probably doing now. The best thing I could say to everyone is we simply want you to follow guidelines and to be as safe as possible. Limit your interaction with others as much as possible. Let's see. Where can we find an updated calendar? Will tuition costs be adjusted due to the fall schedule? Not sure. The university calendar is actually already on the website. I actually just looked at that yesterday. Will tuition costs be adjusted due to the fall schedule? No, it will not, simply because students are getting a full semester of education. We are having classes the entire semester. What is being adjusted already is the dining and meal plan. And the reason being is because the number of days in the meal plan for the fall semester, since we're closing at Thanksgiving, is less than the typical semester. So what we've done is we're front loading the discounted rate in the meal plan. So if you were a student who was here last year, you'll see that the meal plan for fall will be lower than what you've seen. That's because it's already been discounted. So there won't be a refund coming afterwards. It's already discounted up front based on the number of days decrease. Did I hear correctly that after Thanksgiving break, finals are online and the student does not return till January? Yes, you did. Students will not return after Thanksgiving. Students will take their final exams from home. I see another question. Does flex and hybrid include new fees? It does not. The model for this, the reason is we've invested in the technology. We want to offer opportunities for students, faculty, and staff to be socially distanced while maintaining academic integrity. No new fees are being introduced as a result of the flex and hybrid courses. Let's see. Are there extra guidelines for those coming out of state? I would tell you check, not necessarily extra guidelines, but check our COVID-19 site, and that'll tell you everything you need to know and then some. So I really appreciate you asking that question. No problem, Hannah. I see, looks like a question. Whoops. I think I saw a question about a vehicle. I'm gonna have to scroll up to get to it. I think the question was whether or not freshmen could have vehicles. And I know we have some students on here. And what I always say to parents, we certainly allow students to have their vehicle on campus, but it is my belief that students are far better off without a vehicle, especially as freshmen. The last thing we want is for your son or daughter to become the taxi cab driver, back and forth going places. And the reality is, our community is one where for the most part, things that students need are available to them on the campus. But we do allow students to, even freshmen, to have their cars on campus. You would have to bring proof of insurance and registration. And I would just encourage you before you leave to visit the Langston University Police Department. And that's where you would get the decal for the vehicle. We will be, I see another question about, let's see, some guidelines. More information on bringing 2 people with you to campus. Again, students may bring 2 people with them for a move-in total of 3 in each vehicle. All individuals within the vehicle will be screened. So that's important. If you bring mom or dad or someone with your brother, sister, they will be screened. So just prepare them for what they will experience. It's not just the student who's moving on to campus who will be screened. Is it correct that there's no fall athletics, no cheer? That is correct. We have canceled, like many other schools. Well, at this point, many other schools, although we were one of the first to announce no fall athletics, we have made a decision to cancel all fall athletics, including cheer, band, so forth and so on. However, I will tell you there is some conversation happening amongst the presidents in our conference. Been on several calls. I'll be on another one, two more this week, where it seems like more schools in our conference are also considering canceling fall sports. So it is possible that we could move all fall sports to spring, although that decision will have to come from our conference. If there is such a move where all fall sports are moved to spring, it is our intention, provided that we can ensure the safety of our athletes, it is our intent to participate in spring athletics if they're moved. For instance, I'll just pick one, football. If football were to be moved to the spring, we would play a football schedule in the spring. So let's see. Will there be opportunities for work study and on-campus jobs? It's going to all depend on whether or not you qualify for work study and also whether or not you find an available job. The trick with work study, unfortunately, is while some students are granted work study dollars, if you will, from the federal government does not fully fund all students who qualify. And so on-campus jobs typically are very, very difficult. I'm not sure the classification, difficult for freshmen to come by because upperclassmen typically have a lot of the positions. It's not impossible, but I would encourage you to contact the Office of Financial Aid and ask them the question about work study on campus. Will there be an adjustment to housing tuition, especially out-of-state students? There will not be an adjustment to housing simply because it's the cost of students being here. Now, should we have to close down the campus and require students to move out, just like happened in the spring, obviously there'll be a refund there based on the number of days left in the semester that we would have to close. But there's not a discount up front that the university will have because the costs are the costs that we have for housing. Let's see. Will the university provide COVID-19 testing for facilities for faculty, staff, students? At this time, there's not on campus. There will not be on campus COVID testing. Again, we're following the CDC guidelines, but Mary Mahoney, right close to campus, they do have testing available to them or to all of us. So that's an opportunity that's there as well. Let's see. I think I've answered. Looks like. See, RA is required to check in with their building because of this. Keeps track of who comes and goes. I'd encourage you to have that conversation with housing. There will be some increased protocols for students, and in particular, bringing guests onto campus. We are going to be much more rigid than we ever have been with guests coming onto campus. Guests will have to be registered before they get here because there will be some protocols that any guest will have to go through. A student will not be allowed to just bring a guest onto campus and into their residence hall. Looks like I'm getting a message here. Let's see, getting a message from ELT. Looks like several questions are coming into the ELT account on why not have all online classes and not require students to return. The rationale is building flexibility. I can tell you I heard loud and clear from many students where online just did not work for them. It's trying to provide an opportunity for a student to receive the education in the best way possible for them. But at the same time, if a student did not want to return to campus or was concerned about safety protocols and social distancing, that's why we provide the flexible and hybrid model, so that everyone is possibly woven into the process that we have. It's providing a mechanism to provide an environment that's best for the individual rather than just for the common good of everyone. What if a person already had COVID-19? Do they do anything differently? Actually, no. They will still be subject to the screening. Any screening that we have is for any and everyone, but just because you had COVID-19 doesn't mean that you do anything differently other than what what's prescribed for you by a physician or healthcare provider. In the past, have students not been back after Thanksgiving? In the past, students did return following Thanksgiving, and we had 1 to 2 weeks of classes, and in essence, preparation for final exams. So that's why it's a new thing for us this year for students to not return following Thanksgiving. And because what we didn't want is for students, massive students, to leave the campus, faculty and staff, everyone to leave and go and interact with masses of people. I mean, you put thousands around other people, even if everybody interacted with only one, that means they're interacting with several thousand people. We trying to decrease the opportunity for COVID-19 to be brought back to the campus, which is the reason there. Let's see. Do another one from ELT. Do we need to contact someone about getting into online classes if we're an upperclassman? I appreciate that question. Simply contact your academic advisor, or when you look for the scheduling, look for the hybrid and flex course models on your schedule as you enroll. But I would highly encourage you to have that conversation with your academic advisor as soon as possible. Let's see. Why isn't that time for prorated tuition? And another good question, because you still have to take final exams. Faculty still have to be prepared and be paid for their time. And so it's not a decrease in service. It's the same amount of service, it's just in a different format. So no increase in terms of cost because of it, but the university still has the same cost to provide the education. In fact, in some cases, the cost has gotten higher. So rather than to pass on that cost, we maintain as much as we could, but that's why there's not a decrease. Let's see. And I think Ms. Thomas, I want to make sure I did answer that particular question. Okay, how will eating in the CAF work? Another one I've actually not touched upon. Will meals be on a to-go basis? Yes. So students will not eat in the cafeteria, as our returning students may remember. It'll be set up very similar to how things were in the spring. Once we enacted our COVID-19 protocols, students will go and pick up their meal and actually bring their meal to maybe to eat outside in an open space or to go to their residence hall room and eat there. It'll be grab and go just as we did in the spring. The cafeteria will be closed as we knew it, will be only provided on a grab and go basis. And that's a protocol where students would pick up their meals in the great room of the SSC, just as we did in the spring. I'm appreciative of the questions that are coming in, especially to see our students providing these. And I've talked about work study. Lions Den, actually, I'm not sure if Lions Den is going to be closed or not. So actually, I'll need to follow up, and I'll ask ELT to provide that answer in the chat room to you. I actually don't have that particular answer, but we'll be happy to get it for you. I think it's going to be open, but I'm going to ask them to respond in the chat room to get you. Oh, okay. I see. Thank you, Dr. Eastland. I see that answer has already come. Langston will be open. Will we be able to hang out with friends in the dorm? And it's a really, really good question. And here's what I'll tell you. Would we prefer for you not to hang out and do some of the things that we know students to do? We prefer for that not to happen. However, if you do choose to have a friend over, you are going to, it's in your best interest to practice safe distance, to wear your mask, but also to limit the number of people and the consistency in which you come in contact with others. And this is not just about large gatherings. You know, you can contract COVID-19 from just one other person. And I think too often, and what's happened and been put out there, is some almost have the belief that you have to be in a large group in order for this to happen. To the contrary. So while you will have to operate and monitor what's happening in your apartment, certainly we do not want you to have large gatherings, and there'll be some monitoring from housing for that. And when I say large, in a 4-bedroom apartment, any more than an additional 1 or 2 people, we would consider to be large in such a small space. So really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the words there, Miss Lisa. We appreciate it. This has not been easy for any of us, and again, coming to these decisions, although no matter what we do, there will be some who will be critical. But I can tell you, we worked very hard to try to be as accommodating as possible in what is a very difficult situation. But I am proud of the work that we're doing on a daily basis in an attempt to keep everyone safe. Will Greek life continue in the spring? I think, certainly that's probably the hope. But the reality is we're going to have to get through the fall and see what happens going into the spring. If we all throughout America, not just Langston University, if we all do what we need to do, the sad part is we can either eradicate or significantly lower the number of those affected. But the sad part is everybody's not doing what they need to do in order to keep all others safe. And that's why we're encouraging you to do the same. I keep taking my glasses off because I want to make sure I'm looking at you. And when I read the screen, I need my glasses here. For Centennial Courts, are we still doing 2 to apartment? No, for Centennial Courts, it's actually going to be 4 in an apartment. And the reason being there is everyone has their own space where they can be closed off. Now in Young Hall typically in the past has been doubles. We've moved Young Hall to all singles. So Young Hall is the exception and has been moved to all singles in Young Hall. And I will tell you, for students, one of the things that we did decide to do for those who are residing in Young Hall, even though it will be all singles, we are not going to charge the students the single rate in Young Hall. We're charging every student the double rate. We just felt like it wasn't the student's fault that we had to move to all singles, and the right thing to do was to charge the double rate for each student who will reside in Young Hall. For those who are not aware, especially our new students and our new parents, Young Hall is our least expensive, our most affordable housing option. So if cost is a factor to you, it's a traditional style residence hall with communal bathrooms. So cleaning, that's a complex where the university cleans the restrooms there. So if you're looking for an option that would lower some costs, Young Hall, but I'll tell you, I'm going off the top of my head, but as of yesterday, I want to say we had 20 rooms left at best. It may have been down to 12. 12 is sticking out in my head for some reason, but very limited space left in Young Hall. So I'm not seeing many other questions coming up. C-Store will be, I'm sorry, I missed one. C-Store will be open. Okay, so I see where unfortunately problem accessing the COVID info on the website. Okay, Dr. Faslin. So we'll find out. I don't know if you mean the link is not working or if you're just not finding it. I'll ask Dr. Jackson to send you the link, and we'll also double check to make sure the link is operational. Oh, hi, Ms. Riley. Thank you for your comments. Really appreciate you, Madam President. And certainly I'm keeping my fingers crossed for commencement as well in November, that we can still hold the commencement, because I know I made the commitment to you and to the members of the 2020 class that we would actually host a live commencement. And that's still the plan right now. And I plan to honor that commitment unless the numbers say otherwise. Morterius, it's a lot of questions on here. So if you want to repeat your question, I see the part where you asked a question, you said you asked a question and didn't get answered. If you could just send the question again, or what we typically do with these is following this address, we will then go in and answer the questions that I was not able to answer. I see the link is now up. Will fees for events be taken out of our tuition? We are having some discussion. All of the fees will not, because there is some planning that's still taking place to do some different type student events, if you will. They'll just be online, but they cost money to do. We are having some conversation with the Student Government Association about lowering at least one of the fees there. Let's see. Do students have to take everything from their residence hall when they leave for Thanksgiving? Very, very good question. As long as the student's balance has been paid down to $200 or less, all of their items can remain in university housing even after Thanksgiving, leading up to spring semester. However, if a student has a balance over $200, all of their items or belongings do have to be removed during the break following Thanksgiving. Can you give further detail about how move-in will go after the screenings? Actually, that's a better question to contact housing, residential housing, for them to give you the details. If they've not sent out the information, they will be sending out the information about the process and what happens. I do know some information has gone out. Who can you contact if your academic advisor has referred you to your dean and the dean has not responded? Actually, Angela, Ms. Winder, I'd like you to go ahead and email me on that, and that's going to be, I'll have Dr. Jackson have that conversation with you, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Ruth Jackson, the Vice President for Academic Affairs. My email address is president@langston.edu. But if you'll send me the email and let me know who your academic advisor is and which dean, what the question is, and which dean, I'll have Dr. Jackson respond directly to you. And just know, we are seeing some lag time in defense of my colleagues. We're getting inundated with email, and the phones have even picked up as we return to campus. So we have some longer than usual response times. Just ask you to be patient, but we certainly want you to have the answer that you need. So I appreciate the question there. Okay. How will parents register when we come to pick up students for weekends? University housing, residential life will work with you on that particular piece, and they can provide that question for you. I do see the question about VA and students. We do plan to get back certified with the VA We had an issue. It's not that we don't want to be. There was an issue with paperwork dealing with them, and we've worked to rectify. In fact, I think we're very close to submitting the final information that's needed for them to review. We've been going back and forth with the VA for many months now, but we do plan to be back certified to them. How are we going to accommodate the students to use military benefits? I would encourage you to have that conversation with our Office of Financial Aid, because it's not your fault. If you qualify for the VA benefits, it is our intent to honor the same dollar value of what benefit you would have received. So have that conversation with the Office of Financial Aid. It's not your fault. It's not the student's fault, but we do plan to honor it, even though the certification has lapsed momentarily. So just know that we are supportive of certainly VA benefits, and we will stand by those. Okay. I think I've gotten most that I see. Mortarius, hopefully I answered your question there. So I think to all of our faculty and staff, again, I know some of you have the same concerns that I have, but I ask you to continue to monitor and continue to work in being reasonable and keeping social distancing practices, because it will keep all of us safe. There's nothing more important than all of our safety. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, being on the broadcast today, and to our students, look forward to welcoming you as you either return or come to your new home for the first time. So have a great day, a great week, and go Lions. L's up.